radio, according to, you know very well, and you know very well that we do radio according to you. So let's check it out and find out exactly what is still happening. In the world of transformation, Stellenbosch University has been at the tip of the tongue of a lot of issues this year, with two incidents of racially charged urinating, allegedly, and of course other policies and things that are hereditary in the culture of the university that people are now saying need a review, but still at the tip of our tongues. Let's get it going. Student bodies say they are vindicated by the findings that Black students and staff members still feel unwelcome and excluded at Stellenbosch University, as they have been making this cry for inclusion for years. SA Student Congress convener in the Western Cape, Fiso Zungu, said the findings by retired Constitutional Court Justice Sisi Kampempe in her commission of inquiry into allegations of racism at Stellenbosch University came as no surprise. We are shocked. We are not shocked at all. The findings of this report confirm that we have been telling the university. Our cry has always been that the residence culture is untransformed and needs to change, said Zungu. Higher Education Transformation Network Deputy Executive Director Orapelenga Matsidiso echoed Zungu's sentiments. The institutional culture at this university is not transformed. There's no transformation agenda within the institution. The university management is just paying lip service when it talks about transformation. The commission's investigation comes in the wake of an alleged incident of racism that have rocked the university over the past few months. In May, Trusenz Dutoy, a white student, was caught on camera urinating on a first-year student Babalo Ndoyana's desk, laptop, and books at the Reis Mare men's residence. The NPA said that at the time it would prosecute Dutoy for malicious damage to property and criminal injury. The commission found that the culture at Reis Mare was not socially cohesive, and that the residence head and student leader of Reis Mare did not support the institution's transformation project. The commission formally began its work on the 13th of June to investigate, among others, the incident of racism and the state of racial diversity at the institution and inclusion in the campus culture, and whether the university's current policies are sufficient to deal with the lived experience of students and staff experiencing racism. Stellenbosch University, I think we can do better. The return of Tanya Campbell as Ekurhuleni mayor spells disaster for the metro and the residents. This is according to ANC Ekurhuleni chairperson Mzwandile Masina. Campbell was removed through a vote of no confidence last month, but she's been reinstated after beating the ANC's Jongi Zizwe Dlabati in a vote. So what does that mean? Well, Masina says the city is about to collapse. Could it be? We'll have to watch and see, as this is a developing story that is still going to come with more outcomes. You've got to be lower than low to carry out something like this. Pretoria police are seeking a group of multiple suspects after they targeted an elderly couple in Waterkloof Ridge during a house-breaking incident yesterday. According to first responders, the husband and wife were thankfully stabilized at the scene. Video footage taken from outside the property shows the pair being whisked into ambulances before being taken to a nearby hospital for emergency care. Details remain relatively sketchy at this point. The housebreaking took place on Aries Street, and the assault was carried out on the property owners. The thugs then quickly fled the scene. Police have now launched a large-scale manhunt to track these suspects down. The founder of virtual reality VR firm Oculus claims that he has designed a new headset that can kill you in real life if you die in a game. Abel. Palmer Lucky said that device was inspired by Sword Art Online, the Japanese novel series turned anime, in which players are trapped in an online role-playing game where death in the game means death in the real world because the killer nerve gear headset the way that they wear. Lucky launched Oculus in 2012 before selling it to Facebook for $2 billion. That's 1.99 billion euro in 2014. During his tenure at the helm, he created the Oculus Rift and the VR tech that now underpins Meta's big bet on the metaverse, an alternative world where you can work, play, and meet people without leaving your home. The idea of tying your real life to your virtual avatar has always fascinated me, he said. You instantly raise the stakes to the maximum level and force people to fundamentally rethink how they interact with the virtual world and the players inside it. Only threat of consequences can make a game feel real to you and every other person in the game. Lucky, who left Oculus in 2017 and founded Anduril Industries, a high-tech military contractor, went on to detail that he was working on a real-life version of Nerve Gear that was halfway there. These guys are getting serious with this. Manchester City footballer Benjamin Mendy denied being a danger to women as he gave evidence for a third day of his trial in a string of sexual offences, including rape, attempted rape, and sexual assault. Prosecution lawyer Timothy Cray accused Mendy of seeing the alleged victims as just things to be used for sex. The 28-year-old denied that allegation, but admitted to regret over party lifestyle that he described as being on a fast train that kept going until he was arrested and initially spent time in jail after being remanded in custody. The jury heard that during the coronavirus pandemic, a flat rented by Mendy in Manchester and his Cheshire home were used for lockdown-busting parties. Mendy denies 7 counts of rape, 1 count of attempted rape, and 1 count of sexual assault against 6 young women. His co-defendant, Louis Saha Muturi, denies 6 counts of rape and 3 counts of sexual assault relating to 7 women. The scramble for self-preservation among ANC leaders is on ahead of the party's December 16 to December 20 National Elective Conference. Whatever comes out of the conference has little to do with most South Africans, but more about who survives, whose political career goes into wilderness, while some may end up in jail. Such are the high stakes, hence the bickering, and many candidates gunning for the same position. Many so-called top 6 candidates have been campaigning, but little can be heard about the solutions they have to offer to take the country forward. This is mainly because the ANC leaders have made peace with the possibility of losing power come 2024 national and provincial elections. This has exacerbated the culture of individual preservation. Just this week, a list of nominated NEC candidates for the upcoming conference proved that many who have already almost had it guaranteed that they will make up the top structure may not see it as well. Making it to the ANC NEC has since the democratic dispensation somehow brought about safety, surety that one stands a chance to make it to the cabinet. Once there, one is able to influence tenders and favorable business people, get kickbacks, and thus dispense patronage within the party to secure one's position in the NEC. So, what will happen as we count it down? Let's head over to the UK quickly. King Charles III and his wife, Queen Consort Camilla, narrowly avoided being hit with eggs thrown at them during a visit to northern England on Wednesday, leading to one arrest. The 73-year-old monarch and Camilla, who's 75, were targeted with 3 eggs, which landed near them during a walkabout in York, before they were ushered away by their minders. As the incident occurred, a man was heard shouting, "This country was built on the blood of slaves, and not my king," before he was detained by several police officers. Footage aired by broadcasters showed the protester also booed the royal couple before he appeared to lob the large eggs at them, according to reporters present. Other people in the crowd that had gathered at the historic Micklegate bar location for the visit started chanting "God save the king" and "Shame on you" at the protester. Charles and Camilla continued with a traditional ceremony to officially welcome the sovereign to the historical city by its Lord Mayor, as police took the suspected perpetrator into custody. They say a 23-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of a public order offense. UK media named him as former Green Party candidate and activist with the Extinction Rebellion environmental protest group. Would have been nice to see King Charles's flexing away from those eggs. Just In Johannesburg, the Special Investigating Unit says it has obtained a preservation order to freeze the assets of former Eskom manager, her husband, and 2 children. The SIU announced its action yesterday against Eskom's former middle manager of program complex projects, Duduzile Moyo, and her husband, Moloki Moyo. It is understood that she siphoned the almost 25 million rand from an Eskom supplier, which was appointed to transport raw material and water from Kendal Power Station to Kusile Power Station. The order will preserve a luxury property in Silver Lakes Estate in Pretoria and 2 luxury vehicles. The High Court in Pretoria also granted an order that preserves a trust and business named after her children and 2 trustees. Moyo's pension benefits will also be frozen after she had handed in her resignation. A Pietermaritzburg mother of 2 who handed her boyfriend a knife to kill her boss has been jailed. Jade Ashley Barnard, who's 36 years old, pleaded guilty in the Pietermaritzburg High Court on Wednesday to the murder of businessman Vernon Wilton Viviers. Judge Pete Bezedenote jailed her for 22 years. Viviers was found dead at his shop, Tasty Takeaway, in Prestbury on August 8th. Barnard had been employed as a shop cleaner by Viviers. Last month, her boyfriend Martin Grib pleaded guilty to killing Viviers over an argument over 50 Rand advance pay. He told the court that he had arrived at the shop on the morning of August 8th and asked Viviers for the money, and when he refused, a scuffle ensued and he stabbed Viviers. Grib was jailed for 25 years. This week, Barnard corroborated her boyfriend's version, admitted that she acted in common purpose with Grib in the murder. In the Section 105A plea in the sentence agreement handed down by the court, Bongani Mbata, Barnard said soon after arriving at the shop, Grib approached the deceased and asked him for an advance payment of 50 Rand. She said when Viviers refused to pay him, the angered Grib and the argument ensued between the 2 of them, which culminated in a fight. Grib overpowered the deceased and threw him on the shop floor and sat on top of him. Barnard said her boyfriend sat on the deceased and asked her to pass him a knife, to which she obliged. She said he tried to clean the blood but was disturbed by a private security officer. Barnard said she and Barnard tried to run to flee into the nearby bushes but was soon arrested and charged with the murder. Very sad and senseless that such could still be happening. It is 2022 on the 10th of November at 27 minutes before 10, and we are talking about people who are still doing such things to other people for almost no reason. Very, very sad indeed. So, Dr. Malinga has set the record straight after Tweeps demanded their donations back after sharing the 6 million Rand McLaren on his Instagram account. The popular musician topped Twitter trends on the weekend on the 5th of November after sharing a video on the 6 million Rand McLaren saying he was hurt by those who dragged him. The star posted a video of himself in a McLaren with the background music of his latest single, Baba Ngiyabonga. Tweeps quickly assumed he bought the car and bashed him for buying a car, revealing they can't believe he was actually asking for donations a few weeks prior and is now driving the expensive car. Malinga tells a newspaper that he didn't buy the car and says it's a music video that was taken in 2021 at the Royal Marang Hotel in Rustenburg. The entertainer also tells the publication that he doesn't understand why people were reacting negatively and he's hurt by the trolls. He says, "One thing I know is that the ones making noise didn't contribute to assisting me. A person who helps you prosper would not have a problem with you buying a McLaren because they want to see you do well. God will never criticize you. When I cried, I wept to God and he touched the hearts of those who helped me." The talented musician, Dr. Malinga, also said that though things that are going well for him and that all-white concert will be held on the 16th of December to honor his life. The star is not focused on negative comments as he looked forward to the concert, which will be held in Tshwane. He added that he's in a better place right now and all thanks to God. He said, "I'm focused on my music and those who love me." Finally, and further afield in our beautiful continent, French President Emmanuel Macron said that Wednesday announced that France was ending its Barkhane anti-jihadist mission in Africa after over a decade, saying the new strategy would be worked out with the African partners. The declaration came in a wide-ranging speech reviewing France's strategy, where the president also underlined the importance of its nuclear deterrent, as well as relations with Germany and the United Kingdom, despite recent tensions. Macron also laid out his strategic defense priorities for France in Europe and Africa in the coming years, not least in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and a growing international assertiveness of China. The move was the consequence of what we have experienced. Our military support for African countries will continue. He indicated that future strategy would be based on a far closer cooperation with African armies to make France's own deployment lighter and more dynamic. Around 3,000 French soldiers remained in Burkina Faso, Chad, and Niger. There are no immediate plans for the reduction in those numbers. The French deployment was launched in 2013 when jihadists took over much of northern Mali before being turned back. But rebels regrouped, and soon after, the region was targeted by other Islamist insurgencies that are now looking to push southwards towards the Gulf of Guinea. That is what the experts are saying. On that note, let's call it what it is. It is 24 minutes before 10, and this is the moment of truth. We have just gotten our moments in current affairs. This is the first dose. Looking forward to some music as we go into the second hour of Moment of Truth.